Welcome, friends, syncretists, and lovers of truth. So today's subject will be health, and in particular molecular hydrogen. And I have with me Greg, Hydrogen Man, who needs no introductions because if you've been regularly following my channel, you'll find that every 3 or 4 months we get together and we talk about the wonders of the number one frequency particle element of the universe, hydrogen. Welcome, Greg.
Hey, brother. Always good to hang out with you. This is always fun.
Yeah, I was gonna do the breathing as well, but I just had 4 glasses, four
That's
straight
actually
glasses,
perfect.
so I'll leave the breathing for tonight. So, how you been?
I've been fantastic actually. I've been feeling even better from hydrogen lately, and I was thinking, geez, is it the long-term effects, which I know it definitely has long-term effects, where it begins to really accelerate and become more powerful. But what I did not know, because the company never told me, is that they had made some updates to the Hydrofix. And I was feeling it without even knowing it. I kept boggling my mind with what I was doing different, and I wasn't doing anything different. It was actually the new tech in the Hydrofix. So I thought that was kind of funny.
When you say Hydrofix, have you upgraded your machine?
Yes, I got the new one. A lot of people were requesting for me to do a review, and obviously I just got the new 2022. But this technology, actually, they did implement it during a certain period of time in the 2021 models. They just didn't tell anyone apparently, because I think my understanding is that they were working on some patents. They wanted to patent the technology because nobody has it. Nobody does what they're doing. And so they didn't really tell anyone, but they were putting it into some of the machines. And then on the 22s, they're like, okay, we've got it now, so we can tell everybody.
So I'd have it on mine then, wouldn't I?
I think you do. I think you do. I'd have to get the serial number, and then I'd have to send that to the company and just to absolutely confirm that that's the one you have. They'd be able to tell us.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll take a photo and send it off to you.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. It's been 3 months, and uh, I would have liked to have done it show with you sooner, but I've been busy, and so have you. But here we are, finally.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because you're excited about the new technology and new information that you have, about hydrogen, which you're always, discovering in your researches. So you're the man.
Well, where should we go first? The first thing I can tell you, the new technology, the Japanese are calling it Vive technology, VIVE. Me personally, I would have probably called it something else. It's, let's see here, it's super nano, hydrogen vortex, vibration induced expanded metal technology. That's everything that they've done with this new patented technology. So they're creating a special structure with the metal. So the metal that they use is patented. It is very expensive, because they wanted it to be safe, but they put such a structure that makes the hydrogen. I can only say parts of the technology because they don't want me to say all of it apparently, but it causes hydrogen to run almost like a river through the structure that they've created, and causing the particles to slam against each other. And when they do this, it actually creates even super nano hydrogen bubbles, which is even better. And they were already making the best nanotechnology there is in regards to the hydrogen. So it's super tiny, and it induces some type of natural vibration frequency through the hydrogen that begins to create a vortex. And so it begins to vortex the hydrogen. And I think if I remember correctly, I think it was actually accidentally discovered by them. And so they start vortexing the very thing that makes water. They're structuring the hydrogen, which is unreal because we've only known about structuring water, right? Now we're structuring the very thing that makes water, and unreal what they're doing. And like I said, nobody's doing it. And I'm going to share something with you, Santos, just because it's been on my mind a little bit lately. And I'll say right now that if anybody knows me, I'm a little bit of a skeptic, but dude, I'm almost starting to wonder if this, I'm not really, I don't know how to say it, I'm so embarrassed to say it. It feels like it's turning something on within me and somehow almost making me a little bit, it's making me more intuitive. It's making me almost like, I don't want to say psychic, but almost to that type of level, because I'm able to almost, I get these like visions. I have so many things coming to me lately. It's unbelievable. And I don't know if the hydrogen is affecting the pineal gland in such a way, because I discovered that the pineal gland, this was funny because even doctors don't know this. They had to I spoke to doctors and researchers, and they had to research to make sure I was right, and I was. The pineal gland is actually not separate from the blood-brain barrier, meaning that what goes in your blood literally can go right to the pineal gland, which is weird because the pineal gland is located at the center of the brain, but is not protected by the blood-brain barrier. This is very interesting. And so you get all this hydrogen in your blood, and I mean, it's going right through that pineal gland. Personally, I do think it decalcifies it. And I should also say, I always like to say, I'm not giving any medical advice. I'm not making any medical claims, put that disclaimer out there. But we know that hydrogen even decalcifies like a lot of our like arteries and whatnot slowly. It just kind of chips away slowly. And I think it's doing the same thing with the pineal gland. It's doing something, because if I were to tell you all these things that I've been getting lately, and they're big ideas, man. They're not even $1 million ideas. They're $1 billion ideas. I'm actually going to be speaking with somebody who has a connection to the president of Brazil, by the way, because one of my great ideas has to do with agriculture. And it's just mind blowing the things we can do, and trying to possibly even implement that in the world of, no, actually, I don't know if I should say. I should say, because I'm having conversations with some people who don't want me to talk about it, but very medicinal. And it, in my opinion, is going to change the world of agriculture, these new ideas. So they're just wild.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Good on you.
And new techniques, because the Hydrofix makes the hydrogen water without ionizing and without any chemicals. You never want to use things like lye, for example, to make your hydrogen. I keep getting that email a lot. And unfortunately, it's really sad. I've been getting emails from people who've been actually harmed from hydrogen. And I had a medical center contact me with it. And it was because the very first thing I asked is, what kind of equipment are you using? And they were using one of these devices that do Brown's gas that uses lye. And they were trying to follow my protocol, which I put out on the internet for free, even though I was told I should charge for it, but I just gave it to everybody for free. And I told people, do not follow that protocol if you're using the wrong equipment. They were using the wrong equipment. They followed that protocol. The woman almost died. She actually had kidney failure because of the chemicals that you're using to make that hydrogen. And you don't want to do that. The Hydrofix, the one that we use, extremely clean, no lye, everything's food grade actually, and very safe. And that's part of the technology. That was part of the metal technology also. It's all about safety and cleanliness and purity. Same thing goes for ozone therapy. You actually have to use medical grade oxygen tanks to make proper ozone that's actually therapeutic and clean. Purity is so important when you're inhaling and drinking this stuff, man. It's just too important. So we have to say that. I think it's important to let people know, because they don't know out there.
Yeah, for sure. Hydration of the body is probably the number one detoxing, rejuvenating thing. What else could be? I mean, the sun, the breath, and hydrogen. You know what I mean? And hydration. So it's in the top three, right? If it's not, if it's not the most important thing, I mean, surely if you took the sun away, there wouldn't be hydrogen. So the sun would be the first principle, but the sun is hydrogen. Therefore, it is the hydrogen giver. Therefore, we should be receiving the sunlight and the sun liquid, which is hydrogen or molecular hydrogen. So Yeah, it's a totally natural therapy using technology, you know, a protocol that's using technology, but it is natural. No chemicals,
Exactly.
no funny business, you know, no added this and added that, and oh, you could have residual of peanuts or lactose or crickets in this product, you know. how many, how many how many packets of stuff do you have where it says organic, vegan, and then you read the ingredients, and at the bottom there's this little disclaimer. It was, you know, there could be traces of crickets or lactose or rat
Oh
poison
my
or
god.
arsenic, but sorry about that. That it could be.
Oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. I just saw this. I went to this it's really interesting. There's this guy who does a lot of training and he has all this cool equipment and he wanted me because I'm the hydrogen man, you know, and he really wanted to test me. So he put me through these gamut of tests, some very interesting equipment that he had. And it was so funny because he had, well, for one, he had a bag of chocolates there that said keto, and he's really into the keto thing. And I look at the ingredients and it's got sugar in it. I'm like, dude, this doesn't even make any sense. It's such a gimmick these days, this keto stuff. People just look at the front of the package. But he did run me through all those tests, and he said not only was I off the charts, I had results that they'd never seen before. Even the healthiest of people were only scoring. There was this one thing where the lower the number, the better, and the lowest he'd ever seen anybody score was a 3. I scored a 1, and he's like, dude, I've never seen anything like this, like never, no one ever. And he's worked with just massive amounts of people, and he's like, what exactly are you doing? And I'm like, I attribute it primarily to the clean water, the clean minerals, and the hydrogen, you know, and a healthy lifestyle. But you know, he was shocked. He's like, wait, do you eat carbs? He was like big on the carb thing. Do you eat carbs? And I said, yeah, I eat carbs. I eat steamed rice and, you know, things like this. And he goes, how long ago did you eat? And I said, I think I ate maybe a few hours ago. He's like, this doesn't make any sense. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. You know, he was so blown away by it. It was really funny.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've noticed the fluidity. I've just my body's a lot more pliable. Um, I was
You look
getting
great,
sick.
by the way. You
Oh,
look
thanks,
great.
man. Yeah,
Have you
without.
have you gained some weight too?
I don't
Because
know.
you maybe when I saw you before, you were much thinner. You look. I can see that you got a little more meat on you.
Yep. I guess so. Yeah, in the last month or so, I go up and
Yep.
down because, like as you know, I'm battling a lot of stuff with my health, man. The itch, um,
Oh yeah.
radiation poison comes up on top every time I do a SkyO reading on the SkyO machine. Radiation poison is number one, and heavy metal arsenic and lead are always in the list of heavy metal poisons. So, you know, this is a great chelator. This is a great detoxer. This is drawing out
Yes.
all of these things. So I feel that. I'm feeling that, man. I'm feeling that pure water just draining out and cleaning this vessel. It's
Yeah.
um it's amazing. It's spectacular. You have better clarity of mind and more strength.
Yeah. That's what I've been. That's what I've been having. The way my almost can't believe it.
Yeah,
It's like sci-fi almost. And
I
I've never
know.
mentioned it.
I
This
know.
is the first time.
My dreams are getting wild now.
Oh yeah, I had some really crazy ones last night too. Oh, super super interesting.
Wow.
And
And
some new techniques. Oh, go ahead.
it's funny because the guy that I dreamt about last night, a midget, a really short guy, I saw
Yeah.
him. I saw him walk past me today. I saw him in my dream, and then today, as I was coming back from the beach, he walked straight past me, and I said, "That's the guy I saw last night. That's him. That's the midget."
Dude, that's on. So you're like almost like time is being distorted, like almost like seeing through time. You knew that you were going to end up seeing him the next day.
Yep, yep,
That's wild.
yeah,
Yeah, there's some new techniques too, because I've been learning about how when you ionize water, it's not a good idea, and the Hydrofix went beyond to create water that is non-ionized but has the hydrogen in it. And then you can now use the minerals because you don't actually want to like run electrical current in water when it has all these minerals, sometimes it can actually produce certain things that you don't want. So one of these new techniques that I've been using, and it's working really great, is when you just put the minerals in a glass and then you pour the hydrogen water into there. None of it's ever been ionized. You gain just pure hydrogen with the minerals, and raising that bar as far as how the minerals work in your body, because the minerals are magical, man. I mean, they really are. They're so crucial and important for how the body works and signaling, electrical signaling. You need that.
Yeah.
And the hydrogen actually has been shown to be a signaling molecule also. And I don't even know how much we can talk about the V word. I don't even know if we can say, can we say it, or is this going to go on YouTube?
Just
I
say
don't want to
it.
get you in trouble.
We,
I'm
no,
not gonna,
yeah. Just say the V word. Just say
yeah,
V.
I'll just say the V word. But there's some really interesting information about long V or the long C. That thing that's going around that's affecting people for long periods of time. The Japanese did some very fascinating research on that, and it's showing to affect both male and female differently, like completely different, brother. It's very interesting. But they're also showing that hydrogen, because it affects the females, it actually overactivates their immune response when you're having the long, I'll just call it C. And when you're a male, it reacts the opposite direction. And so basically what's going on is they're showing hydrogen actually will regulate. It'll bring up one person's immune system, bring down the other one. So it's nice and balanced, because the immune system is important to have balance. You don't want an overactive immune system, and you don't want an underactive one.
Yep.
And
Gotcha.
so that's something new that is helpful in regards to the whole world of hydrogen. But I think this Vibe technology is actually kind of the coolest thing there is right now, enhancing the way hydrogen works, and literally nobody having it. I'm just glad the Japanese figured it out. They're always on the cutting edge, so that's exciting to me.
Yeah, I'm glad to be one of the first recipients of it as well. I spoke to Chad from the company, and he was really, really excited and happy with with my results and what I'm doing, with the company as well. He was very, very excited, that we're into health, and that's one of our favorite protocols, because that's his business. And we had a great conversation, man. I learned a lot about the qualities of this hydrogen water. He explained the special features, as you have done, and
Yes.
and the benefits. So I can't.
Off the charts.
Yeah, I can't stress enough. I mean, you go to a doctor, you go to a homeopath, a naturopath, a Chinese practitioner, always they tell you that you need hydration. Please hydrate yourself, hydrate. So you can't do that from just drinking water.
Yeah.
First of all, the water must be structured. Number one, there's things that have to be done to that water. It has to be, you can't just drink still water that's just been sitting there for hours and hours and hours. That's flat. It's got to be vortex. It's got to move. It's got to be running it, and then it gets all electrically charged. So you can't just drink water. A lot of people are doing this, thinking, all right, well, I've had my 4 glasses. I had my 2 liters. That's what they say is the average. So I've done that, but they're not actually hydrating. Whereas with this,
somehow hydrogen actually helps hydrate hydrogen. It really does do that, and they know that for a fact. I mean, there was an interesting study done in Japan where they actually did it on soccer players. I think they were semi-pro or pro soccer players, and they measured their stamina before hydrogen. Then they had the whole team get on hydrogen, and then they did another test where they measured their stamina. And in the world of science, 80% success rate is like a huge success. Well, they got 100%. Every single athlete performed better than their previous scores. And that was big. That means that it works for everybody, basically.
Yeah, there you go. Makes sense. It's my favorite element. Everything comes from hydrogen, as Walter Russell said, and a lot of the greats, Victor Schallberger as well. He was right into hydrogen and the molecule water. But yeah, these guys, they knew that this was the God particle for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Let me share with you one of my biggest theories. I don't think I've really come out and said this because I didn't think people would understand, but I think you will, and I think your viewers will. You remember the guy Masaru Emoto or Masamuro Emoto, something like this, the guy who talked to water, structured the water with images, music, sound, so many things, right? My latest theory is that, and I think he missed it. He is now gone, right? He's dead now, but his research lives on and it was amazing. One thing I think he missed, I think that when the water's responding, I think it's primarily the hydrogen that's responding. And so when you infuse the water the way that we're doing it with full saturation of hydrogen, I believe having the positive thoughts towards the water is actually going to enhance the effects over normal water. And even breathing in the gas, envisioning, positive things, envisioning where in your body you want that healing while you're getting all this hydrogen in you, which is that activated because hydrogen, they even call it active hydrogen. I don't know if you've ever heard that before. And that's because it's so active, right? There's so much energy in it. And life responds to life, you know, and hydrogen is the life molecule. As where oxygen, I mean, it's not to put down oxygen because oxygen's amazing, but it's oxidizing. And when you separate them, oxygen drops to the ground like a dead person, right? Just drops to the soil.
Yep.
Hydrogen ascends
Yep.
like a living spirit, right?
That's right.
And, and so I actually think that the one thing that he missed was that it was hydrogen that's been responding to the input, whether it's the thought, whether it's the sound of your voice, whether it's the music, whether it's an image. Hydrogen is what's responding. So this is a way that we can enhance the effects of the water and the gas by using our visual power, our abilities to visualize or speak it, or just feeling it, just feeling the gratitude. I know when I use my device, I have a ton of gratitude for what these guys did because they did it the hard way. They did it the hard way, you know, and they got big industry to, whether it was Yamaha and Toyota, G-Shock, they got these huge big time engineers and this really amazing metal company. There's only one company in the world that does this type of metal because it's expensive, you know. And one of the interesting parts is, yeah, the machine is very expensive to make. And when you look at a lot of the other devices out there, the reason other people promote other devices is because there's more money in it. That's what I've been finding. I mean, there's more greed. This device is very expensive to build, and so there's really not as much room for there to conduct their business. But they did it because they did it from the heart, and that's what mattered to me. That was what was very important. And above all, I just care that it's the best, that we're getting the best hydrogen, something that's safe, something that works, and they follow the science. And so I always feel that a lot of that gratitude. So maybe that's part of what's activating the hydrogen for me, is just being so grateful that we have access to it. Thank God for the Japanese doing this. I mean, because otherwise, all the machines out there are Chinese, Taiwanese, Korean, and they all use Chinese parts. I mean, it's pretty much Chinese stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen the lab testing that has been happening lately by the company, which is really awesome. And what they've really verified, I hate to say this, but it is the truth, what the Chinese are telling us about their hydrogen devices in the lab tests are not panning out. So that when they tell you certain levels of hydrogen, the lab test shows much less than what they're claiming, and the Hydrofix, the one that we use, it's lab tested, certified. We know that it's making what it's claiming to make, and those numbers aren't outrageous. And so sometimes people are like, oh, the numbers are not good enough. But when you lab test it, it's actually making more than all these Chinese devices that are claiming huge numbers, and they're actually not even making what the Hydrofix is making. So a lot of lies from China. Hate to say that, probably going to I hope it doesn't get the channel in trouble or anything, but it's really terrible. It's terrible.
No, I know there's so many unauthentic companies out there. That's why I try everything before I promote it. It took me months, remember, before really. Well, I mean, we did a show in Oregon 3 years ago about hydrogen. That's when I first did it, but I didn't try it. It was, and I wasn't.
Yeah, that's right.
I wasn't giving any testimonials. I was just allowing you to introduce it to the world through my channel. But now that's different. Now I have a machine, and essentially I always say to people that is the number one thing that got me through December and January, where I nearly died. I was at
remember that.
death's door, and that there's a couple of other things as well. I'm not saying, and everything else, diet and solar work and grounding, but that was my main go-to thing that saved me. That was the
I
big.
remember.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that gave me a ton of gratitude. Again, the fact that this existed and that it was there for you and saved you. I mean, it saved my life. I'll tell you that right now. I mean,
Yeah.
it saved. I was incredibly ill, and it's done wonders for not just me, but also family members and people that I known. And so it's been such a beautiful thing. And I always tell people not to confuse with Brown's gas, because I had somebody recently who was so sad. They had cancer and they were doing the Brown's gas, and it actually accelerated it and made it worse. And I was just so upset. And I was like, what kind of device are you using? And it was one of those lye devices again. And I'm like, oh, and you don't even need lye to make hydrogen, by the way. The only reason you use it is because it's cheap. And I'm so tired of this cheap Chinese crap. Did you ever see the lab tests on the pills?
No.
Oh man, I've been saying that these hydrogen pills, in my opinion, of course, are no good. I've been saying it for a long time. And there was finally some lab testing I released on my channel. And doctors promote these. In fact, the ones that were lab tested were Dr. Mercola's pills. I don't know if you saw that. And you should see the results, brother. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Oh,
No,
but
that's fine, because he also talks bad about distilled water. I mean, whoa, how stupid can you be? Everybody respects this guy, and he is a hater of distilled water. I mean, is that a dunce? Is he a dunce, or he's just a dunce?
I
One or
mean,
the other.
maybe he just doesn't understand water like we do. I mean, the thing about distilled water is that it's the cleanest. I mean, you want to start with clean water. There's too many crazy things in water these days that normal filters don't filter out. I know every modality. I know every, 10-stage filters, carbon filters, gravity filters, nano carbon gravity filters, reverse osmosis. I know every modality of filtering water, and there is nothing on the planet that cleans water like distillation, carbon
Yeah,
distiller,
yeah.
including, this is an important one, no water filter out there kills all viruses and bacteria within water except for carbon distillation. It's the only one. And God knows what's in our water and what stuff they're maybe putting in our water. So I make sure to clean my stuff real thorough. And so far it's been blessing me. And pure water and pure hydrogen are such a blessing from God, in my opinion. They're the most natural thing you can get. Hydrogen, water, oxygen's obviously very natural, and they're some of the best healing methods. But yeah, when the lab test of the pills was done, they claimed, this is again where I don't trust what I'm being told by these companies. They claimed 8 ppm of hydrogen, which I thought was a little too high in my opinion. It ended up testing at barely 1. So it's like 1/8.
Right.
And that was in a very small container of water. People don't understand that the volume actually matters because it's like a percentage. So that was one thing where it didn't test well. It was churning the water into acid water, Santos. It was like literally like it changed the pH. Hydrogen doesn't change pH. It's pH neutral. So
Exactly. That's the point. I get a lot of people saying, "Whoa, you shouldn't alkalize water. That's bad. Alkalizing water is not so good for you. It's a trick. It's a trick." Well, this is neutral. Hydrogen, molecular hydrogen is neutral.
yes, and when people
Very.
use things, well, this one makes the water acid. Again, pretty much like Coca-Cola or something, which is terrible. And then you have other things like the Brown's gas devices actually make the water alkaline because they're using lye, and lye makes the water alkaline. But beyond the pH, the lye is just toxic. And then they were trying to, here's another big one to educate people. Did you ever see these guys before?
Show again? No.
So they claim that this measures the hydrogen levels within water. And even the professionals say, oh, this is how you measure hydrogen, including Mercola. He says, this is how you measure hydrogen. I showed in a lab test that this stuff was completely inaccurate.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you don't use a little $50 product to measure hydrogen. You need expensive thousands of dollar pieces of equipment that need constant calibration, actually.
Yeah.
And so we're getting so much bad information, which is very frustrating for someone like me, to try to give the right info. And there's so much bad info in the world of hydrogen. No regulation in America. It's a wild, wild west. They did a lab test on these too, the little portable ones I've been talking about,
Yeah. All right.
and showing the leaching metals and measuring the wrong amounts with these things right next to the proper equipment. So it was cool to have the lab test so people can look and see the real results.
Right. That was your beeping. I was looking. Hang
Oh.
on. That's your machine. I thought, hang on a minute. Mine's turned off. Yeah. All right. So that's now. But by the way, folks, with distilled water, it is absolutely the best water. But you must add minerals to it.
Yes.
I add seawater. I get pure seawater, which is basically the same chemically as human blood, and I add the right amount to every glass of distilled water, folks. So like Greg was saying, with all these other hydrogen machines, okay, so you put normal water in the decanter, and what happens is that ionizing process now creates some chemicals in those elements in the water that you don't want.
Yes.
See, so with this, we're not ionizing the water, and I, in particular, am putting distilled water in there. Then, so I've got pure molecular hydrogen with no minerals at all. And then I add my minerals and drink that, and I'm doing super. So just a caveat there on that, on the hydrogen water, because even these great doctors, like I respect a lot of what Dr. McCullough stands for and is trying to achieve, but he's really dunced out on the on the distilled water. He's like, whoa, Homer Simpson there. That's a brain fart. He's got to fix that. Otherwise,
I agree.
He'll never get respect from real intelligent people. He'll only get respect from people who like to get their ears tickled.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. He's clearly not a water expert. He's clearly not a hydrogen expert. That I can say by far.
Clueless.
Yeah, unfortunately. But hopefully people will find the right information. That's the whole reason I went, I was trying to tell the company it would be really great if you guys did some labs, some laboratory footage, because, they have access to proper labs, hydrogen labs in Japan. We don't really have access to that in America. Hence the reason they're using silly little products like this that just don't work, is because they don't have the proper equipment. And so luckily, I've been saying it for years. Some people didn't even believe me, but now with the laboratory footage, all it did was prove that I was right the whole time. And I have a relationship. I have a weird relationship with hydrogen. I've been doing it for so long, and I have such a love and a passion for it that I feel like it's almost talking to me these days. This is why it gives me these visions and ideas of how to utilize it, including with the minerals, putting the minerals in a glass and then pouring the hydrogen water right into it. I mean, that's ideal, the way that you'd want to do it, and it's absolutely going to bring out miracles. Whereas to your point, if I were to just put normal, like let's just say tap water or even filtered water in one of these cheap devices, directly electrolyzing the water the Japanese already figured this out and discovered that it creates these other gases. So think about if you had chlorine in here, just as one example, and you ionize it, it creates chlorine gas, and you're inhaling this stuff. That's not what you want to inhale. That's dangerous. And there are other gases that are produced. And that's why you don't want to actually directly electrolyze the water. And then, of course, when you use the Hydrofix, which doesn't directly electrolyze the water, and you use the best water, this carbon distilled, just extremely clean water, it is the best, hands down the best. All you need is minerals at that point, and you just put them in your glass. I mean, it couldn't be easier, and yet it's a beautiful protocol that's accessible to us.
Yeah, and hats off to the Japanese. They also invented one of my other favorite protocols, ivermectin. I love ivermectin.
Oh,
That
careful
stuff.
with that though.
Yeah, I know. You have to be careful. You have to be careful not to take too much. And I would once a year, but it saved my life, Greg.
Oh,
In 2019, that stuff um, gave me 4 months of no skin itch. Both fenbenzidol and ivermectin together. It was a protocol that I learnt from some forum of guys that were dealing with parasitic infestations, etc., candida, blah blah blah. And I did that protocol, and I got 4 months of no itching. It was
oh,
amazing.
I gotta say, first of all, it's really sucks, Santos, and you might even have to edit some of this because just saying those two words that you said, the one that starts with an F, recently they're trying to shut down my channel because I've been doing videos on it forever. I've been talking about that stuff forever, and my channel got attacked from the ones that I've been showing how to use it and talking about its effects on can. And then I'll just say that the second part of that word is sir. And I can't believe that they attacked my channel for it. And I was concerned that they were going to shut it down. And I think that that's the next one they're going to go after. By the way, they're going to go after the one that starts with an F. They already went after the first one that you said, and I don't want to repeat those words because eventually they cause issues, especially if you're going to be on YouTube, and you do not want to get shut down on YouTube, my
No.
friend, because people need to hear what you have to say, and you don't want to lose your channel. And so, like I said, you might have to end up editing that out. I don't know how you'll do it, and somehow share that information with people. But I completely agree with you. Those two that you mentioned are some of the best anti-parasitics, dewormers. In fact, I'm on one right now. I do protocols. I invented a protocol with it. It's a 3-month protocol to really get to the eggs in the body. That's how you really nip it in the bud, because otherwise they come back. And the third one that I also like to use in conjunction with those, and hydrogen enhances the whole thing, by the way, so it makes it work even better. And I found a new enhancer. I haven't even shared it yet on video, but maybe I'll share it on yours today if you want. But the other one is diatomaceous earth. That's a really
Yeah,
good one to
I'm on it.
keep the GI nice and clean.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I've recently, and I'm going to do a video on this, enhances hydrogen is Natto. I've discovered now that it is enhancing hydrogen, my friend. Not only what it does in the gut, but the Japanese have discovered that Natto thins your blood. And thinning your blood is not actually a bad thing because it helps it get into all these nicks and crannies that you really want. Because, like the ancient scripture said, life is in the blood. So if I cut off blood supply to my hand, eventually this hand will just die. You need blood supply. And hydrogen has already been shown to not only move the blood, proper blood flow, it gets into the ghost veins, which are where you're not getting blood anymore. And hydrogen has been shown to get in there. But when you combine it with Natto, Natto makes that blood a little thinner and it gets into all the nicks and crannies even better. And then it enhances the really wonderful bacteria for the gut and the GI show. It really enhances it, man. I've been using it and it's just been nothing but wonderful. And it's jam packed with protein. So that's
Nice.
also great.
Nice.
So probably one
Wow.
of the most wonderful, powerful vegan foods. Japan has numerous superfoods, and natto is deemed their #1 superfood of all their foods.
Right.
Numerous scientific studies on it. And it actually goes after even cancer cells and oxygenates them, which is actually bad for the cancer because it keeps it from being able to spread as much and whatnot. So natto is just a miracle, and using it together with the hydrogen, I've been finding just amazing results. So I was going to share that in the future.
Yeah, so it's a Japanese product. Can you just talk about that while I get the door? Someone's knocking at the door.
Yeah, so natto is spelled Natto. It's a bean, but the beans are magical. Beans are actually incredibly important to be able to get proper levels of protein when you don't eat meat. They're incredibly important for your health. However, when you ferment them, they just go next level, and that's exactly what natto is doing. It is a fermented bean, and you mix it, and you literally can see it transform before your eyes. All the bacteria start to breathe, and the natto turns all foamy, and it's an acquired taste. Once you get that taste down, it's amazing. I've been putting it in my smoothies, brother, and the smoothies get so filling, so full of protein, and it's so fantastic. And I've been feeling the difference with the whole hydrogen too, and I just can't say enough about that stuff. And it's cheap. The biggest part is how you get it, because I can find local stores, but some people might even have to go as far as ordering it online. But I love natto, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, I used to eat it when I was in Japan. It does.
Oh,
It can get a bit stinky, can't it?
it does. It almost tastes like chocolate that has no sugar mixed with stinky feet or something.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
like
It's
yeah,
weird.
like smelly socks.
Yeah, but you
Mm.
get used to it. Kind of like beer, right? Beer may some people may be like, ah, and then you get used to it, or wine, or even funky cheeses that smell weird that taste so good. But I don't need any cheese anyway, and I'm not drinking beer or anything, but I have in the past. So I'm just saying that, I know what they taste like, I know what they smell like, but natto is just, it's a thing of beauty. And if you put it in the smoothie that I do, if anybody ever wants to check out my YouTube channel, it's all free. And it's called Uprising 144K. And if you type in hydrogen smoothie, you can see these different smoothies I made. And I made a natto smoothie with a lot of fruits and vegetables. And I throw the natto in there. You can't even taste it, brother. You can't even taste it.
Wow,
So
wow.
you can consume it if you don't like the flavor, but very medicinal.
All right, Greg. Well, that was some great shares. Just once again, let's have your details so people can contact you, and then I will share where they can get the hydrogen machine from my website as well, because I am now an affiliate since last week. Ha!
Yoo-hoo! Yeah,
Yeah.
I've become one too. I always wanted to be open to everything, but I've clearly discovered this is the best, and I only promote the best. So that's just where I stand on it. But people can contact me at my email is uprising144k@gmail.com. If people want to subscribe to my channel, it's free. And the name of my YouTube channel is Uprising144K. The official company's website, if they want a Hydrofix, is holyhydrogen.com. And then I don't know what is your code?
Okay, so you can go to my website, universaltruthschool.com. In the products tab, you'll see Holy Hydrogen. You just click on that and you order there. And the coupon code is Mr. Astrology, MR Astrology. One word, Mr. Astrology. Don't put Mr. Astrotheology like my YouTube channel. It's Mr. Astrology. And do they actually get a discount if they order from there?
Yeah. If they use your code, they get a discount. And then the only other thing I wish I would have mentioned was, and we'll probably talk about it next time, is remember, astrology is a study of the stars, right? And stars are made of hydrogen. It's literally the study of hydrogen, my brother. It's just so
Yeah.
crazy. The study, all of life, all of light, and literally God's language. That's what he chose. His pen, the ink is hydrogen. It's in everywhere. It's everywhere. Anything that's alive has pretty much hydrogen in it. So pretty wild.
All right, Greg, please send me the link to your site as well, and I will link my site and where to buy this the machine, folks, in the description below the video in the description box. Thank you very much for joining us. And if you do endeavour to get a hydrogen machine, all the best. I know you're going to bless yourself for it, and I wish you all the best and for making a wise decision, and happiness, health, and wealth will eventuate. Thank you so kindly, and
We should say one more thing too, while they're available, because with the way they're attacking things that actually work, you never know what they're going to do with all this. Who knows? Maybe they'll start shutting down hydrogen channels. But for right now, they're available. And the cool thing about the company is they only provide the best, and the premium edition is actually a medical grade edition. In Japan, you'd have to be a doctor to get this one. But when they buy it in America or internationally and they order from the Holy Hydrogen Company, they can get the medical grade one with no doctor involved. You don't have to be a doctor, which is really cool.
exactly. Remember, folks. Yeah, there's a war on going against all of this. What is good and natural. So yeah, be wise and take advantage now while The opportunity is still available. Thanks, Greg. And
Yeah,
folks, if you really want to learn much more about hydrogen, go to Greg's channel, or go into the search bar in my channel, Mr. Astrotheology, and put the word holy hydrogen in there, and you'll see interviews that I've done with Greg over the last 3 years. There's about 6 on my channel, and they are all amazing. Once again, thank you, everybody. Blessings, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
yeah. Next